has been a busy week full of news and updates on VOA Africa TV. US officials announced billions of dollars in US investment in Africa during the US-Africa Summit in Washington, D.C. The White House provides big promises for investment and diplomacy as the US seeks to build new ties with African nations. For this and for more, here's a highlight from each of our programs. On Africa 54,
who you have on who you've interviewed so far and what their remarks are about the summit that is just about to wrap up today.
I've spoken with quite a number of U.S. and African officials here at the grounds of the U.S.-Africa Leadership Summit.
I think that the US-Africa relationship over many years has been somewhat problematic. The US has been very much absent in the African environment, and part of the reason for that is that there's this perception in the United States that Africa is uninvestable, that the continent is complex, that it's difficult, that it's corrupt, that it's a highly problematic place for investment, and as a result the US has been absent. During the Trump administration, there was a realization that China had stolen the march and was way ahead of America on the African continent.
On a Straight Talk Africa,
$55 billion for Africa over the next 3 years. United States support for the African Union to join the G20 and a multi-country visit by President Joe Biden next year. The United States appears to be pulling out all the stops in a bid to reimagine its relationship with African countries.
There's a real magic bullet to addressing that. $55 billion can find places. It can be absorbed into Africa very easily. But you need to have the right intermediary. If the United States over the next 3 years wants to invest $55 billion, they need to speak to the most important partners, who will be the development finance institutions. Africa has up to 10 investment-grade development finance institutions. These institutions are not $100 million. They are up to $25 billion in total assets.
on Our Voices.
Music is a form of expression that combines words, emotions, melody, and captivating instruments to create entertainment. Music is also part of the African culture as a medium of communication and constant in all celebrations, marriage, births, deaths, and social events. African women have always played an essential role in the music culture as either singers or dancers.
Your music continues to evolve and change, but one thing that is the same is your incredible energy. Where's this energy coming from?
For me to keep that fire blazing, I must go through rigorous hours of rehearsals, band and music individually, and then as a combination. And I do enjoy that process because I then get to present my art on stage. 2014 was the game-changing year in my life. But just before the collaboration on the body of work, Lion King with Beyonce, one of the most fundamental changing years in my life happened when I released my album, Mama Africa, because I had taken up a mantle that was heavier and bigger than any other mantle I could have considered at that point in time. And that really was a game changer because the entire world accepted me for who I had announced myself to be.
On Red Carpet.
Breakdancing is breaking new ground with its inclusion in the 2024 Paris Olympics, with women entering the traditionally male-dominated activity. Let's get on with the show.
At the recent worldwide Red Bull One Breakdancing Championship in New York City, male and female competitors from around the globe vied for a top spot in a sport that's soon to be part of the 2024 Olympics. The roots of breakdancing can be traced to the inner cities of America during the 1970s and 80s, when mostly African American and Latino men challenged each other on the streets for dominance.
On Healthy Living.
Euphoria, stress, anxiety, grief. Sports fans often experience these emotions and everything in between. A fan's emotional response to a game or affective response include the feeling of pride and satisfaction when winning, or the feeling of disappointment when losing. Football has been described as an emotional roller coaster. Experts say team losses during soccer games have been linked to a high rate of attempted suicides and psychological distress, among other things. According to research, acute cardiovascular events such as heart attacks and cardiac arrhythmia among hospitalized patients increase due to the stress that comes with watching a soccer match. Since November 20th, the Qatar 2022 World Cup is in full swing, a moment of joy and often...
And this and more have been happening this week on VOA Africa TV. That was Angie Omar for VOAAfrica.com.